Today, I want to tell you the truth about Sweden. Sweden is an amazing country. Maybe 20 years ago, let me tell you what Sweden have become today. In Sweden, you are not allowed to say what you want anymore. In Sweden, there are certain rules you have to follow. One of the foremost things that have happened in Sweden during the last decade or so is that you have, and I mean have, to say that you are a feminist. And if you don't agree to that you are a feminist, then you will receive social consequences. This might sound like a small problem, but when it has taken so big proportions as it has done during the last couple of years, the outcomes have become outrageous. Many men in Sweden are no longer acting as men. Many men in Sweden have become a weak shadow of what a man should be. Many men in Sweden have a total lack of self-esteem. The modern Swedish man can no longer stand up for himself. There is probably no man from any other nation in the world that is so easily offended as a Swedish man. Why have this happened? Let's break down what have happened in Sweden during the last decade. Feminism have been launched hard and wide in every corners of the country. What feminism have done with this country is to transform men into beta males. This have had the impact to create men that are so confused, so they no longer know how they should act. There are biological differences between men and women, and in Sweden, a whole society tells men to act in a way that is not natural. The fundamentals of feminism are good. Equal salary for equal work. That was at least what feminism was first about when it popped up in a large scale in Sweden 10 to 15 years ago. What feminism have become is something totally different. In Sweden, feminism have totally destroyed family values. Women are being told that they have to catch up to what men have done during all of these years. Women are being told that the only thing that matters is to have a career, as well as 2 soccer teams, including substitute trainers and staffs of new sexual partners each year. Feminism is not only destroying men in Sweden, it is also destroying women. Tons of young people in Sweden are really depressed. And why, you might ask? Because it is not natural to live in a way that is contrary to one's biological structures. Men and women are being attracted by the biological differences between each other, and when the society tries to erase those differences, it leaves both sexes in total despair and confusion over their own gender roles. An heterosexual man is not attracted by a woman who acts as a man, and a heterosexual woman is certainly not attracted by a man who acts as a woman. As feminism have been dragged as a rug over the Swedish society during the last decade, the enormous problem of male feminists have popped up all over the Swedish society. What is a male feminist? A male feminist is the most confused of all confused men. A male feminist is a sneaky creep who tries to win the girls over by being on their side. Girls are being attracted to testosterone, and here comes hordes of men who have a total lack of testosterone, who instead have this hidden agenda, who are trying to sneak their way into the girls' panties. No matter what the society tells the girls, no matter if the society tells the girls to be attracted to these male feminists, the girls are not attracted to them. Why? Because girls are wired to be attracted by testosterone, and the male feminist doesn't send out much of testosterone in their energy. Here we have men who are doing as they have been told. They are acting as a male feminist, and still the girls don't want them. This in turn makes these men to become a frustrated creature of what a real man is. So what have feminism led to in Sweden? Crushed family values and 2 sexes that are in total confusion about their own gender roles, and this is obviously not a good situation. Why have this happened? Because of the agenda that are being put out by the major news stations as well as the politics that is being driven in Sweden. What will happen to you if you don't agree to these values? You will not be hunted down and thrown in a hole by the government. You will not be beaten. You will not be held captive against your will. Nothing even close to that will happen. What will happen is that you will be seen as an outsider and that you will be frozen out by the society. That is at least what those running the agenda want to make you believe. In truth, if you don't agree to these values, nothing will happen. The key is to make people believe that they will have a hard time if they don't agree to these values, that they will have a harder time getting and keeping a job, as well as in general having a harder time to live in the society. Now, I'm going to tell you something that is so outrageous that if you live in another country, you might not even believe it. In Sweden, we have state television, who to a large extent are involved in setting the social agenda that will apply in the country. Maybe you have this in your country as well. Swedish state television is regarded as one of the best and foremost places to receive your news information from. Swedish state television have 2 main channels as well as a few second channels. Now comes the most outrageous thing about it. It is run by taxes, which you are forced to pay as long as you live a normal life. The only way for you to get out of these taxes is to say that you live in a cabin in the woods without television and internet. Yes, if you have access to the internet, then you have to pay, because if you have access to the internet, you have access to the state television via the internet. Every Swedish adult have to pay around 200 euros per year for the state television, no matter if they watches it or not. Having a state television that is run by taxes, having a state television who are highly involved in setting the agenda in the country is definitely a high form of communism. As I said earlier, nothing will happen if you don't agree. You will not be captured and thrown in a hole. You will not be beaten. You will not be held behind a wall with machine guns pointed to you. Nothing will happen. What is happening in Sweden is a hidden way of suppressing freedom of speech. The key is to make people believe that bad things will happen to them if they don't agree. Having such an agenda is not freedom of speech.